Hey, what's up? Yeah, we're back at it.
All right,
Tyler.
We made it to Ice Cream Cruise. The Festiva unfortunately did not make it.
No,
I haven't really done any updates. Long story short,
but as you know, mine did. But thanks to Tyler.
Yes.
and Charlie and Paul.
Festiva lifted a head, which I didn't tell you guys about that either.
Oh, yeah.
Festiva went ahead and lifted the head. It stretched the factory head bolts, which I expected to happen eventually. So I ordered ARPs, got a new gasket on it. Then we had a weird lifter noise. The oil pan wouldn't stop leaking, so I brought the Fiesta. So it is what it is.
Actually, I think we got what's going on over here.
We got
police going on. Something.
Yeah, I don't know, but we're gonna drive around a little bit.
Yeah, we're gonna try to at least. If we get stopped and told to go back, well, then I guess we'll go back.
See if we can get in trouble, but we're gonna try to drive around, look at a few cars rather than poor fat man walking around.
Yeah, trust me, I'm fat. I am.
We had a canopy, but tell them about your canopy fiasco.
Yeah, we didn't. Yeah, our canopy.
Canopy
we
doesn't.
Forgot our canopy.
No, we have the frame.
We have the frame. Yeah,
we don't have the canopy. So anyway,
we got the frame.
We're gonna go drive around.
So yeah, fuck this sun. That's one thing when the sun beats down on
101 degrees outside. So
like I could deal with 101 in the shade.
All right, we're gonna go drive around. Chasers.
Yep. And we're back out here. Now we're walking around a little closer this time. Well,
The power steering
pretty
pump.
much the PSCA cars that run in up in Colorado, pretty much. Mostly too my PFI. It's not all of them. Yeah.
Sure. Well, we made it, guys.
Oh, what is this? Why is there a box on
I don't know, haven't seen this one yet.
Are they cooking stuff on with this?
Probably. Who knows with them, they're always up to something. UH22 crew.
Damn right.
H22 power, baby.
Hell yeah.
Cooking something?
I was cooking burgers.
Just let it sit in the auto and cook it pretty good.
Oh yeah?
I saw the video. That cracked me up. Yeah, it was.
I guess Kyle's been cooking burgers on his hatch here.
I mean, it works.
I mean, it's not stupid if it works.
Yeah, it's not stupid. It works. Exactly. Remember that. You don't have to get it right. You just got to get it running.
At least
That's why he threw a rod.
That's
why he threw a rod.
I haven't seen the new NSX yet.
Yeah, we just dropped that out.
You got a fucking killer.
Yeah.
Not bad.
I mean, for what it is, it's still an
Hey everybody, it's me again. I know it's been a while. I've been working on this thing, trying to get everything lined out on it. I actually went to Ice Cream Cruise. I'll throw the clips and everything in here. I didn't get a whole lot. I didn't record a lot, but we did go. I plan on taking this, but after doing the oil pan gasket and getting it all back together, it decided it wanted to have a lifter noise out of nowhere. So we decided not to take it, and I took my Fiesta instead. But I got it all back together. Whatever I guess was making the noise seems like it's resolved itself, which oh well, I guess. But it doesn't have a weird noise anymore. I actually just ordered everything to do the catch can setup for this, and I'll probably mount it somewhere back in here, but that's just open. I need to do something with it. It didn't have a ton of blow by, but I don't want an open hole in my top of my motor. Last night I actually just finished up putting my boost control solenoid on. It's running down, let me get my light. It's running down to the wastegate. It's a 44 millimeter, and then it runs straight to the turbo right there. Anyway, yeah, so that's how that's working. I'm running that off of the micro squirt. It's firing it. I got the duty cycle table all mostly configured. We're running right at 10 pounds right now, which is about all I can do on these Chrysler Sebring injectors. I kept blowing my charge pipes off, mainly the one down there by the blow off valve. So I went ahead and I put a bead on every one of these because there was a couple that didn't have beads. So I knew when I started up in the boost it was eventually going to start blowing charge pipes off. So I put a bead on every single end of these charge pipes, and it has not blown it off again. So I guess I'll resolve that. Today's project, I'll get this unwrapped and show you what happened, but I know what happened. If you watch, it wiggles. Right. The weld's cracked. Somewhere in here the weld is cracked. So I got this, already cut these off, which I don't have any more, so we're gonna go full race car and use a hose clamp on the end of it, I guess. No one should ever see it. It'll be up in the fender. But I'm gonna get this unwrapped, and then we're gonna see where it's messed up. I'll probably go ahead and just run a bead, another bead on every single weld, because there's like 3 or 4 through here to make that pie cut. So I'm gonna unwrap this, and then we're gonna go ahead and see where the problem is, and then we're gonna fire this baby up and get it fixed. So, as things usually go, it's worse than I thought. The dipstick tube runs right past this, and it rubs right there. Well, apparently that created a weakness, and it cracked it all the way around to where it's like, yeah, not good. So we've got to, I guess, resolve the issue with the dipstick tube. Unless I can clearance that with a ball peen a little bit, maybe. It'd probably be, I know exactly where it's rubbing now, so it shouldn't be too bad to clearance. So we'll probably do that, and then I guess weld that up. So I got everything picked up. I'm done now. I got the crack welded, and then I went ahead and decided to weld all the welds over again. And so I got it wrapped. It's still wet from me soaking it, but I went ahead and re-welded all these welds through here, and then I re-wrapped it. It's actually pretty well centered in the hole. Well, better than it was. It was laying all the way down at the bottom because that weld had cracked and it was just laying there. But it's finished now. Y'all haven't seen this either. I went ahead and painted this to match the wheels. Turned out okay. I put, I think, like 12 coats. I did primer and then paint and then clear coat. Tried to make it look presentable, but I did that. It's all pretty and sparkly. So that's what's going on. That's finished. that's about it. Next thing I have to do, if you ever get a chance to use Loctite's adhesive, they claim it works on plastic and fabric and all that good stuff. Don't. I used it on my headliner and I laid it on, I mean, pretty thick. I didn't, I tried not to cut corners. I even got the back side, like I folded the fabric up around the top of the headliner and tried to get it all up nice. And I mean, you all saw how tight it was when I got done with it. That lasted about 2 days. And now it's this. It's sagging. You see how bad it's sagging? That light's holding it up there, and then the visors are holding it up there. It's awful. But I bought Permatex, which, granted, it's a can about this size, give or take. So yeah, about this size. And it's like $33. But it's designed specifically for headliners. So I'm going to use it, and fingers crossed I will never have to do this again. Hey everybody. So on today's episode of putting more money in a car than it's worth, we're going to be putting these new injectors in the Festiva over here. I'm sure that was nice and loud for you guys. Anyway, these are 550s. These are Bosch yada yada part number. Anyway, these are supposed to be Bosch name brand injectors. They came off eBay. They were really cheap, so we'll see how this goes. But I got a set of 550 cc's. The ones that are in there right now came out of a Chrysler Sebring. I just had them laying around. I couldn't tell you where I even got them from. I've had them a long time, but they haven't failed me yet. They're doing really well. But because I got the boost control solenoid on there now, and we're actually like able to regulate boost, I've got it turned up to about 10 pounds, and we're seeing like 85% duty cycle. So we're running out of injector. I got plenty of fuel pump. I'm not worried about the fuel pump, but the injectors for sure, we're stretching them thin. They actually went in pretty easy. I stacked 2 O-rings on the top up here. Let me get my light so you can see it a little better. I put 2 O-rings on the top, and then on the bottom it's got these weird little rubber gasket. I don't know how to describe it, but anyway, I reused those because they're kind of a one-off thing. They have not leaked before. I haven't had like vacuum leaks. I just put a thin layer of RTV on the little rubber grommet gasket, whatever the thing is, that goes under the injector, because these have like a recessed edge, like a lip, and then that sits in the lip, and then the injector goes in that, and the body, the collar, butts up against and seals. So I put a little bead of red silicone on it, and it's pretty warm in there, so it'll probably cure fairly quickly. I'm gonna let it sit for a little bit, and then while it's sitting, I'm gonna put everything, all my wiring stuff back together, get my harness tucked back under the intake, and fire it up, make sure everything works. After I go in and rescale, let Tuner Studio know that I went from a 270 to a 550, and it should scale it back automatic. That's the plan anyway. But we've got plenty of fuel now, if these work like they're supposed to send a rod out this thing, which will probably happen. But so far, pretty smooth. We're going to get everything back together and then try to get started. Done. I got it started, everything works. The fuel was perfect, it scaled it perfectly for me, so I started it, it ran, I revved it, made sure everything was fine. Duty cycle is like 2% at idle, so we're fine. We got plenty of fuel now. So I got the wastegate off, and I'm going to try to build a dump tube. It's been pointing down, and there's like a little piece of plastic for like the backside of my inner fender, and it's really close to it, and it does shoot quite a bit of fire. So I'm certainly concerned that it might create a fire hazard or melt the plastic. I don't want to smell burning plastic. So we're going to turn it. It's pointed down right now. It's hot as hell. It's turned down, and I'm gonna have to redirect it up to get it to dump out the hood. I was gonna do it out the fender, but I already have a beauty ring for the exhaust, and I'd have to remove it. It's riveted on. I'm not fooling with that. So the plan is just send it out the hood. Hood's already cut up. I don't think I'm gonna hurt it anymore. So we're gonna try to get this thing. I've got to take the top off and rotate it so that the fitting is where I need it to be for when it's pointing the other way. And then I'm gonna have to pull one of these plugs, depending on where it's oriented, and move the bottom fitting to whichever one of these ports that I'll be using. But that's what's going on, and we're gonna try to get a dump tube coming out the hood. My bracket that holds my turbo actually cracked on me. I just noticed, because I couldn't figure out why I had a ton of vibration in the car, like more than usual. It's because that bracket, the turbo was like moving and wiggling. I'll just show you. So this bracket right here that I built, let me get my light. If I can like hold the camera and set the light and wiggle it, let me see. Okay, so that bracket right there, it's a piece of angle that I just chopped up and made work. It wiggles. I don't know if you can see it, but anyway, it's cracked right down there. So I'm just gonna leave it on the car, and I think I can get my MIG gun in there just for the corners. Try to get that welded. I'm just gonna stitch the edges of it, and hopefully it holds. I guess I just didn't have enough heat on, or enough filler. I don't know. It didn't hold clearly. So as I've said before, I'm not a professional welder, but we're learning as we go here, and that's the whole point of what we're doing. So I'm gonna get this wastegate apart. We're gonna figure out how it needs to be oriented. I'm gonna leave the top off of it just so I'm not picking it up and dropping it and any of that good stuff. So we're gonna take the top off and then just stick it down in there and get it mocked up and see what we need to do to make all that work. I have a dump tube over there that I think will get me all the way up to the hood. I might have to pie cut it a little bit to get the angle I need, but no sweat. We'll get it welded up and knocked out. All right, everybody, I got my stuff accomplished. It was quite the task, as it always is, but there's the wastegate dump. It runs down to the gate. There's a bunch of pie cuts to get it around the turbine housing and come up, and then I made a hole And I gotta clearance the hole a little bit more, but it's tight, but it does go. So I gotta clearance the hole a little bit, but it comes out the hood and it's not too obvious. I can cut it lower and get it down to where it's flush with the hood, but for now it's perfect. And I welded a little bracket that was broke for the turbo, and the exhaust is centered-ish in the hole, so works for me. I'm going to call it good there.